This is going to be a quick video, so give me a second. What I want to say real quick, and this is a quick movie review of A Most Violent Year. If you haven't seen it, save your money, because this is definitely a Netflix rent, because it's... And I don't want to sound mean-spirited when saying this, but it is one of the most, not boring, but bland movies of the year. Like, I was so disappointed with this movie. It was not funny. It was not even like... Alright, what... You know, there are many other movies and games and television shows that are long, but they're good. They keep you invested for as long as they can. And they make pretty good with their runtime. Lord of the Rings, The Godfather, Scarface. You know, how would I describe this, though? Well, if you haven't seen the movie, it's not a gangster movie. It's about the heating and air conditioning business. Frankly, the oil business, the oil burner business. And it's one of those things that just doesn't do well with me. It's like one of those movies that is just so bland, it just ruins it. Like, alright. The title of the movie indicates that this could be like a Godfather or a Scarface or a, you know, good Martin Scorsese film. But in actuality, it's not. It's a movie that takes itself very seriously, but the problem with this movie, I have to say, though, it's that it's well shot. Well shot. This is not the problem of the movie. It's well shot, well made, well orchestrated, well developed. You know, it's a well made movie, but it's just bland and boring. Like, nothing happens in it. It's just a guy basically wanting to buy a business. He's running out of money, so he tries to make money. Meanwhile, two fucking thugs, you find out are two fucking thugs, are stealing his trucks, and then he has to do something about it, and then, like... And, like, one of the competitors, you know, is buying out the business. The city, like, council, which, honest to God, like, are indicting him for tax evasion and, you know, skimming off the top, which his wife was doing. However, you just don't care, because... And I'm sounding... so particularly bland with this, or like I'm trying my best to review this. I really am. It's okay. The lighting in it's brilliant. All right, every shot in that movie feels like it belongs in the movie. Like there's no shot of this. You can tell this is New York during a bad time. Everything is low lit. Everything seems depressing, dirty, and disgusting. This takes place in New York in 1983, I believe, or the late 80s. Excuse me, early 80s. My biggest problem of it is that, and, you know, the acting in it's not terrible. I'm keep getting to the bad part, but just give me a second. The acting in it is phenomenal. Albert Brooks, the main actor who's in that, I forget what his name is, but the guy who plays the main is not bad. You know, the actors in it are not bad people in it. There's not a bad moment of acting in it. It's just bland and doesn't make sense why any of this shit is in the fucking movie. Basically, it's how am I gonna get the money, and then how am I gonna? It's like he gets the money, and then you know this happens, and then this happens, and it all works out in the end, except for the one guy who shoots himself. Which, honestly, on that guy's defense, okay, there's a guy in the movie who's a truck driver, who's one of the truck drivers, and he's a Spanish American. Well, he's a foreigner who comes over to this nation. You know, the guy, you can clearly see he's like a foreigner, but he's the one who gets fucked up in the beginning of the movie. But it doesn't entice you into the story. You don't really care. Like, you know, about the guy getting caught with the gun. You don't care about, you know, this business. You don't care about the wife or child. Nothing happens. It's just a series of good, you know, well-shot scenes. And nothing happens. Like, Alright, there's another scene. One of his sales reps in the movie. I know I'm just going on about this, but not making any contents to it because I don't have someone next to me talking. But the main actor, you know, one of his sales reps, like, during a sale interview, gets mugged and, you know, gets put into a back of a truck. It's like one of those, like, you know, dirt trucks that carries a lot of dirt or water or whatever the fuck it carries. And they dump him out in the middle of nowhere. I thought he was going to get buried, but he doesn't. But there's another scene afterwards where he just... he comes back and his car's messed up. Why couldn't you just edit that scene out? You didn't have to put that fucking scene in the movie. Like, it didn't need to be there whatsoever. And, like, we could have been focusing... And it takes place during the same time, like... That Spanish truck driver of one of the oil trucks gets hijacked but whips out the gun, which... Oh, I also noticed a continuity error, which was not really continuity error, if anybody would have picked up on it, but still. But it's so fucking weird. It's like this movie, like, could have been better if it was edited better. And edit it down to, like, say, an hour and, you know... an hour and, I don't know, 45 minutes, or an hour and 30 minutes. It didn't have to be this fucking long. And it drags, and it drags, and it drones, and you don't give a shit about anybody. You try, but, like, honestly, the only good scenes in the beginning of the movie are the beginning, and there's another scene where they, the main guy, the main actor gets his house robbed, or he gets sent a message. No, nothing is explained. They just have things happen, and then this happens. It's a series of and-thens, and not but or therefores. Like, nothing happens. Like, nothing, it's just this happens, and then this happens. And it's like, you know what, this is like... And it got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, which, guys, listen, if a movie's well shot... It's like the same thing with graphics for a video game. If graphics are good, if, you know... Graphics don't make a fucking game. It helps. It makes the game look pretty, but it doesn't make the game any better in gameplay or story. It just makes it look like a pretty game. I think Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball fucking proved that point. It's hard, but it's not difficultly hard. It's just a game where you just see a lot of good eye candy. However... It's kind of insanity a little bit in my mind. It's kind of insane where it's acceptable because this movie's really great because of like the scenery and the how it's shot. Bullshit. I've seen better movies that are like poorly shot, like have like a lot of faults in it, but are still fun nonetheless. A Fault in Our Stars. I haven't seen that either, but. Which I wasn't excited to see. It's that heartwarming story about a girl who has cancer, and honestly, this could have been like, if she was a boy, like, never mind, I was gonna go, it could have been a Bane story, because she's wearing the oxygen thing, and it would have been great if he was, like, she basically became Bane. But yeah, it was a bland story, and it was a bland movie for bland people.
It's a spork. It's a spoon and a fork.
Oh, it's a spork. We know we know it's a fucking spork. But however, I just didn't think the movie was that fucking exceptionally well. Like, the story itself is just bland. Like, you couldn't spice this up. You couldn't just say, hey, this was... I don't know if it was based on a true story or not. Like, it didn't say anything about that, but I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to finish this up by telling you about this trailer I also saw in the beginning of the movie called While We're Young. And, my God, it's called Hipster. It should have been called Hipsters the Movie, or How Ben Stiller and Amy Watts discover, or no, Naomi Watts, or whoever's like the female lead in that movie. I know that Emily Blunt's in it, so, yeah, I know that it's called, it should have been called When Adults Discover Hipsterism. Or hipsters, or something like that, because I'm just so fucking sick of fucking hipsters. I really am. You can't like something without saying, oh, I ironically like it, that's so mean-spirited. Oh, I ironically like this, or I like this and you're being funny about it. No. Like, I like Resident Evil, legit. Like, I'm wearing a Resident Evil t-shirt. You can't see the Stars logo. Sorry, Capcom, please don't take this down, but, by the way, I play Resident Evil. A little free advertisement. But anyway, Marcella, fuck you and this mainstream bullshit thing. I like some of the mainstream things, and I also like some of the underground things. I don't like them when my internet became my culture became hugely successful. However, with this being said, though, I just get sick of it. It's like, of this irony bullshit and this whole... Why can't I just like things? Can I just sit down and eat my goddamn hamburger? Can I not just, watch DVD? Which, I like DVD. VHS is great, but I like to watch... I want to see the behind the scenes of something. I want to see what people put into their works. Like, it's so fucking weird. And I mean it. It's just... I'm also looking at this guy. Jesus, dude. Alright. Anyway, it's... Overall, don't see this movie. Wait for it when it gets on Netflix to check it out. So you can pause it, come back to it, and then do it again. Overall, the best things I gotta say, though, were the acting, the lighting. The music was poor, so... Yeah, but everything else seemed good. The story sucked. I'm kind of confused. I'm kind of all over the place. This is my first, real, watched it and now reviewing it kind of review, so... Yeah. So, my final thoughts... It's not going to be in my top 10. It's going to be in the top 10, but not the top 10 you're going to think of.